So most people who try to break into medical device sales fail. And it's usually not because they're not capable, it's usually just because they're doing the wrong things. So in this video, I'm gonna break down why most people fail, the exact mistakes I see every single day helping people break into this industry, and what actually works if you wanna break in. If you're new here, this is the Break Into Medical Device Sales YouTube channel and podcast, the best place for free information regarding landing your first high-paying medical device sales role, regardless of your experience. My name is Vince. I founded Med Device Sales Academy. I broke into medical device sales out of college with nothing but retail experience and a bachelor's degree, broke into a multi-billion-dollar company, and the industry completely changed my life. I started out as a junior rep making like 70, 75K, and in just 10 months, I was promoted to a senior rep making over $180,000, $200,000 a year by age 24. It just opened so many doors for me for my career and my life. And I felt like I stumbled upon gold because medical device sales is just truly one of the best possible career paths that anyone can pursue. You have day-to-day autonomy because you're creating your own schedule each day. You're out and about in the field meeting people face to face. You have sophisticated high-level clients and you're building relationships with, surgeons and other high-level people in the medical device sales industry. You have tremendous long-term career runway because it's healthcare related, it's recession-proof. Most people that get into these sales positions pivot into leadership, into marketing, into product training, and all of these roles still pay six figures. And I got that flexibility and ability to be like an entrepreneur with the stability of a W-2. And these are all of the reasons why it's so difficult to break into medical device sales, is because all of these things are so appealing. It's why everybody wants to be here. So first, let me break down why it's so hard to get into medical device sales, like what the reality is. And first and foremost, it's just plain competitive, right? Most people realize that the barrier to entry into medical device sales is low. You can break in out of college. You don't need sales experience. You don't need a fancy degree to get into this industry. And then it offers all of those tremendous things that I just mentioned, including multiple six-figure incomes in a pretty short time frame. So everybody's pursuing it. And the unfortunate truth is that by the time these jobs get posted on sites like LinkedIn or any other job site, like you even see visually right in front of you, there's hundreds of applicants for these roles. Like you're competing against quite literally hundreds of people. Now, the other side of this coin is that there's limited entry-level roles, right? There's a lot more senior opportunity, but the entry-level roles are few and far between, which makes it even more difficult to break into them when they're available. Most people coming into medical device either don't have sales experience or they don't have clinical experience or OR experience. So they're all fighting for those same pieces of the pie. And like many of the other really high-paying, prestigious roles in the United States that don't require these fancy degrees like consulting, a lot of it's relationship driven. Getting into med device is really about who you know, not what you know, unfortunately. And the thing is, by just applying the roles, you're really setting yourself up for failure. This is not a traditional apply and get hired type of career for the most part. And this is exactly where most people miss the mark. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down the six biggest mistakes, the six biggest reasons and mistakes that you are likely making trying to get into the medical device sales industry, what to avoid, how to fix all these things, and what to focus on, okay? So look, the first is that you're treating it like a normal job search. You find jobs available, you apply to them online, and you wait for responses. And this is by far the worst strategy for getting in this industry or any high-paying industry. As I mentioned earlier, by the time a job is posted, it's already too late. There's already tons of applicants, and the entry-level roles are just few and far between to begin with. So if by you just positioning yourself and waiting for jobs to get posted to apply to, like you're really diminishing your results. The fix to this is to definitely network first, right? You definitely want to build the relationships within the med device industry that will eventually turn into opportunities that they invite you to, right? When I broke into medical device sales, the job I was offered was never even posted. I've talked about some of our clients here at Med Device Sales Academy, like Phil. He was a Starbucks barista. He broke into a multi-billion-dollar company, Smith & Nephew, in about a month and a half. And it was from an opportunity that he generated from networking that they invited him to, okay? It was never even posted. So what we really want to do is focus on the networking side. Now, I'm going to talk about the mistakes I see on the networking side here in a minute. Now, the quality of your networking strategy is of utmost importance. So I'm going to talk about this more in this video because that is another huge mistake I see when people are trying to break into this industry. But let's move on to the second mistake, and that is that most people don't understand the medical device sales industry. And when I say don't understand the industry, I'm not just talking about what companies are out there and how the day-to-day of med device sales works. It's important to understand that, but it's even more important to understand the different types of technology, the different types of products and sales processes they go through. Because here's the thing, is you going for a position at a company that sells disposable electrosurgical equipment versus going for an orthopedic role that's implant-based versus going for a capital sales role, these are all widely different. They have different call points. There's different sales strategies. There's different things that you should be emphasizing in your networking and interviewing. Same goes for clinic-based sales like dental or aesthetics. Same goes for surgery center-based sales or GI lab-based sales or cath lab sales. The thing is, they're all different, and understanding the differences and nuances of each one helps position yourself better as a candidate, but also be more effective in your job search. Literally, one of the biggest biggest eye openers that most of my Med Device Sales Academy clients go through when they come to us to break into the industry is just being more knowledgeable as to what else is out there, because most people just pursue the top 5 companies that everybody else is pursuing: Stryker, Medtronic, Johnson & Johnson. You're setting yourself up for failure by only going for those roles when you don't even know what else is out there, and you won't know that without understanding the industry. Now, fortunately for you, if you're on this channel, you're listening to this podcast, we have tons of content about this, about how the industry works, what companies to pursue, so on and so forth. But bottom line is, if you don't have clarity on roles and companies and divisions, you won't really know what to go after, and then you're just going to be another random candidate. So the fix to this is to learn how the business actually works so you know what to pursue and you can fine tune your efforts. So the third biggest reason people fail breaking into medical device sales is having a weak why. By not having a strong answer to the question, why do you want to break into medical device sales, you are absolutely setting yourself up to go nowhere in this process. And it's crazy because it sounds so cheesy and corny and like it's not even that important, but literally through every single conversation you have in networking in medical device sales to your first several interviews, that question will need to be answered, and it will need to be answered very well. You need to be able to explain why personally you are driven to break into this industry. And most people have a very generic answer. Oh, I'm financially motivated. Oh, I have a passion for healthcare. Oh, I want to help people. And these are just like the same exact copy and paste answers that everyone else has. There's no conviction. There's no compelling story. There's no emotional reason to why you actually want to do this. And you're not even tying it into why that makes you a good candidate, right? Let me actually give you an example of this. There's a connection I had in the medical device industry for a great company. He worked at a great company and he was hiring a junior level rep. So I put somebody in front of him, and just due to the timing, it was kind of premature in the process, right? Like this particular candidate that I put in front of my connection wasn't far enough along in the preparation process to really fine tune and polish his why. So I have them network, I have them have their opening conversation, and the immediate feedback that that person gave me was, hey, the candidate just didn't have a really polished why, and I would strongly emphasize him to work on that moving forward. Now, this is before he even got into the interview process. Like, not having a good why, even just in the networking phase, will disqualify you. So it's really important. So the fix to this is to build a compelling story, an emotional reason why you really want to be in medical device. And then the icing on the cake is actually correlating that to why you would be a successful med device sales rep. So the way that we position our candidates to do this is we have them talk about like a personal reason why they're drawn to med device. We have them talk about a professional reason on why they're drawn to med device. And then finally, we train them to take all of that and say, this is why this has prepared me to come in here and succeed for you and for this team and for this product is because of XYZ. Here's what's in it for you. And that's like sales 101, baby. So build a compelling story and position yourself as a candidate really nicely. And that leads into the fourth biggest mistake, the fourth biggest reason why people fail to break into med device, which is just really poor positioning, right? You look like everyone else. You don't have like a specific sales driven angle. And like, I can't tell you how many times people say, oh, I paid someone to update my resume, or I paid someone to update my LinkedIn, or I already fixed it and it's already good. Now, I will say this right out of the gate. A good resume and a good LinkedIn is like 5 to 10% of getting in this industry that will not allow you to break in on its own. But even then, so many people that I talk to that think they know what they're doing on updating their resume and LinkedIn, or paid some guy on Fiverr, or paid a few $100s for some resume coach, it's still not industry specific. It's still not sales specific. Like, they don't show measurable outcomes and achievements. They don't show the transferable skills into medical device sales, which are territory ownership, full sales cycle ownership, navigating complex sales environments, working with various stakeholders of various skill levels, communicating with sophisticated people. I could go on. There are so many transferable skills specifically to the industry of med device sales that everyone just disregards and doesn't even put on their resume. And they think just because they show quota attainment or revenue or whatever it is, that now their resume sticks out. And that's just not the case. In 2026, like, you need to show on your resume, not just numbers, but specifics to medical device sales. This is a field-based territory management type role, and you need to be able to demonstrate that. So you want to translate your experience, even if it's not sales skills, into sales skills. Now, for that portion of your resume, I have plenty of free content on our YouTube channel and podcast on how to do that, how to quantify things that you've done at your role. Perhaps I'll make another video in the future on identifying transferable skills that you can put on your resume. But either way, you really want to position yourself as a industry-specific med device candidate, not just a salesperson, but a med device candidate. So whether or not you use LinkedIn, you really want to get into the habit of making sure it looks the part. You want to look the part before you even open your mouth, okay? Good rule of thumb on this is to just look at what other med device reps are doing. Not aspiring med device rep, but people that are actually in the industry. Everybody's an aspiring quote unquote med device rep. Look at people that are actually there, okay? So then the fifth biggest reason to why people don't break into med device is they don't adequately prepare for the interviews the right way. Again, guys, I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, Vince, I'm so confident in my ability to pass the interviews. I'm so confident. single interview that I've been through, I get yeses and I get offers and I get this and that. Great. Medical device sales interviews are not the same as other company interviews because selling to an OR, selling to a physician, selling to surgery centers, this is a long-winded, more complex sales cycle. So you being good at interviewing is not enough because 50% of the interviews are them gauging, can you actually do the medical sales part of this? Most people wing it. They don't even know the interview structure. And the interview structure I've broken down in other videos is a little bit complicated. It could be anywhere from 3 to 8 interviews in medical device sales, from field rides, ride-alongs, sales presentations, panel interviews. So you really want to adequately prepare for these by understanding the specific product that you're selling, the specific sales cycle of the product that you're selling, how reps actually succeed in the company and the product that you're selling, and then also to demonstrate all the personality traits that they need to see. Now, you get a lot of the answers to the test by networking. I've got a video here that walks you through the 3 phases of the med device sales interview process, but honestly, I strongly encourage that you work with somebody that understands exactly the medical device nuances because you can't really just afford to bomb the interviews anymore. If you bomb an interview in the med device sales interview process, you now have to wait another 6 to 12 months for that next opportunity to come up. So it's like you should just capitalize on it when it's in front of you. And part of that is really building a compelling business plan presentation to the latter half of your interview, whether you're going for entry level or senior level, because you're demonstrating to the company, now if I drop you into the role, how will you generate revenue? That is a nuanced thing that most people have no clue how to approach. So master the 3 phases of medical device interviews, which is your personality, your professional fit, and the competence portion. So I've got a video here if you guys want to check that out on how the 3 phases of the med device sales interview process work. And then finally, the last reason, the last biggest mistake that I see for people who cannot break into medical device sales by far is the lack of consistency. They try to network with people for 1 to 2 weeks. They go through a couple of interviews, they bomb, and then they give up. And it's like, guys, like breaking into med device sales is as ruthless as the job itself. This is an everyday thing, literally 7 days a week. Every single day, connecting with reps, reaching out to reps, having conversations, applying for roles, and continuing this cycle every single week. And it may take several months straight of doing this, even if you're a stellar candidate. That's just the nature of it. But the reason is because this industry is so good, and this job and this career path is so good. And I would argue that you grinding it out for a few months to get into the position will open up doors for literally the rest of your life. Like, we're not talking about you just making more money. We're talking about changing your life. So the fix to this is daily outreach and actually tracking and documenting your conversations. The clients here that we have at Med Device Sales Academy, when they're pursuing med device roles, we actually have them document and treat the outreach process of getting into the industry like a sales process. We built out a CRM for them to track all the companies they've been reaching out to, all the reps that they've been reaching out to. They document how many touch points they've done. And like, that's what it takes, guys. And if you're not willing to put in that extra effort of work, I would argue you're not fit for the industry, honestly. So the bottom line is most people don't fail because they lack ability. It's mainly because they lack the strategy. And I get messages every day from people on LinkedIn that have been trying for 6 months, 1 year, 3 years to break into this industry. And it just becomes the cyclical cycle of spinning their wheels because of the rejection loop and because their confidence drops from doing the same things. And then even worse, they go on a 3 to 4 year journey of trying to get other careers to then position themselves to break into medical device. You just kick back your goals by 3 to 4 years by taking another job when you don't need to. I mean, I broke in out of college in retail. I've talked about Phil here. Phil worked at a Starbucks. I've talked about Jarrett on this channel. Jarrett wasn't even out of college yet when he received his first offer for Zimmer Biomed. So what actually works? Okay, what is the 30,000 foot view strategy for breaking into med device? It really just comes down to the 3 phases that I talk about ad nauseum on this channel. First is strategic networking. You build relationships in the industry that lead to referrals, okay? This is not just like a blanket copy and paste outreach strategy where you're reaching out to 30 people, you're reaching out to hiring managers asking for jobs. Please don't do that. This is actually seeking to build relationships in the industry. And the way that you do that is through a strategic approach, targeting the right reps for the right companies that actually make the most sense for you, and actually coming to these conversations knowledgeable, asking really good, impressive questions. It's no longer enough to just reach out to reps and say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about med device sales and your journey. You need to be more knowledgeable of that, and you need to actually understand the business and the sales process to help you stand out. The second is strong positioning. It's making yourself look like a good industry candidate right out of the gate before you even start. Good resume, good LinkedIn, very industry specific to talk about the specifics of med device sales. And then finally is mastery of the interview process. Know the process, be prepared, understand what you're up against, actually bring really good tailored assets, which is a solid 30, 60, 90 business plan presentations, value analysis presentations, like really good stuff, really solid questions that get them to see that you are a standout candidate and to see how you think as a salesperson. So if you're looking to break into the high paying world of medical device sales, I've got 2 options for you. The first, the truth is this, it's very difficult to break into medical device sales, and most people, it takes months to years to get in. So we built Med Device Sales Academy to guide you and audit you through every single step of the process and help you break into medical device sales in as quickly as 90 days. We help position you the best way as a top candidate. We help you build a robust network of people on the inside of the med device sales industry that invite you to job opportunities, and then we help you absolutely crush the medical device sales interview process. That's in addition to us pulling in opportunities from our connections in the industry. So if you're interested in joining Med Device Sales Academy, just click the link in the description here. You'll be taken to a page, fill out an application to see if it's a fit, and then you'll be able to schedule a call with us. So go ahead and do that, and we'll see if it makes sense to work together. Now, the second option is this podcast, this YouTube channel. This is the best place to be, hands down, for free information regarding breaking into medical device sales. Otherwise, guys, I hope you found this valuable, and I'll see you in the next video.